how to bridge your eternal vision down to your moment-to-moment actions. That's what I'm going to explain in this video today. We will talk about why it's so important to cast the biggest vision possible that is rooted in kingdom impact and eternal value, and then how to bring that all the way down to your moment-to-moment, minute-to-minute, even second-to-second actions. So, first of all, when I have spoken to people in the past in my former marketing agency, I've found that most people have goals that they want to achieve, but few people can actually translate the goals into day-to-day actions. And, well, instead of using other people as an example, I can use myself as the prime example here, that I always came up with big visions of what I wanted to achieve, how I wanted the business to look, more than happy to put the countless hours into the work, the researching and the planning, the strategy and things, because that's what one of my gifts is and what I find fun and enjoyable. But I just could not translate that down into the moment-to-moment actions on what I wanted to do. I found that I had a vision in my own mind on what I wanted to achieve, but I couldn't explain it to everybody. And again, in hindsight, I can kind of say it and admit it that I expected other people to be a mind reader, and I blamed other people when they didn't understand what I wanted, and then they subsequently interpreted what I said to them, and they then went off and did something which did not align with what I wanted, and I blamed them for it. More importantly, what I also found is, while having my big visions in the past, is that I had no solid anchor. I had big goals and a big vision, but no solid anchor to root it to. And as such, I found that I kept drifting and changing my vision and changing my goals. When things didn't work, I changed things, and I changed what I want, what the ultimate goal was, and all these different things. And it just ultimately led to, well, you think about it, that let's say you have, this is where you think you're heading, and this is the vision today, and then after a while things don't work, so you move here, and then you expect everything down here to work in alignment too, and then you move here, and then you move here, and then you move here, and then eventually you're actually going 180 degrees to where you currently wanted to go. That's what happened to me, and it prevented me from building replicable business systems. Because how can you build a replicable business system when the goal and the vision of what you're trying to do keeps changing every few weeks or month? The people that I had on my team did not execute what I wanted. Well, how could you execute and achieve the goals you want by not keep changing what I want and changing the goalposts? So yeah, I made all of those mistakes. The point is that I was able to create this big vision of what I wanted, but I could not communicate that vision to other people, and because I didn't have a solid foundation, I kept changing it. What's the lesson? The lesson that I learned from that mistake, and after spending about a year or so researching things, is, well, you have to root your vision in something eternal. Something eternal, by definition, is timeless. It remains the same today as it will 20 years in the future. It remains the same today as it will in the past. It remains the same today forever. It's universal. It applies to you now. It applies to people in the past in the same way. It will apply to people in the future in the same way. And it's infinite. Infinite meaning it's unlimited. What this means is it allows you to focus on building something that will outlast you indefinitely, and it allows you to build your business and foundation and anchor everything in something that will not change. And that is so important, because whenever you drift like I naturally do, you can stop, look back, aha, realign, recalibrate, move back towards. This makes sure that you are making meaningful progress every day towards a meaningful eternal goal and eternal vision. For Christians, casting your eternal vision is relatively easy because we want to have the biggest kingdom impact on as many people as possible, and then we use our lives and businesses and gifts and experiences to do that. So we will focus on helping as many people as possible and planting as many seeds as possible and being a blessing to as many people in our lives as possible, and to go into every interaction where people say, well, thank God Sam came into my life because he's had this impact. And that's what the goal is. And there's an unlimited number of people that you can do that to, and you base your eternal vision on that. Everything then is rooted in having this positive impact. Well, one thing what I've learned is that by prioritizing impact, influence, relationships, humanness over everything else, all of the other things that you want is going to come as a byproduct as well. I mean, in Chronicles, I'm going to butcher the verse, but God came to Solomon and in a dream and asked him, what is it that you want? And Solomon replied that you've given this land to my father David, and look at all the people there, but the people are as numerous as the dust on the earth. Who am I? I'm just a young person. How can I manage and grow this massive group of people of yours to align with my father David's vision of what you told him to do? How can I do it? Please give me wisdom, so that I can manage and steward everything that I've given for your benefit. And then God said to him that because you've asked for wisdom, I'm going to grant it to you, but I'm also going to give you wealth, riches, and influence as well. That's not verbatim, that's what I remember it, but that's basically the story. And, well, what does that mean? It means that because he didn't focus on wealth or riches or a long life or the death of his enemies like everybody else would, worldly self-directed goals, God's going to give him all the wealth, riches and wisdom as a byproduct of him pursuing what God wants him to, which is his eternal vision. What I'm trying to say is, using a biblical reference as a proofing mechanism here, is that if you prioritize kingdom impact, you're going to find that you have wealth, riches and wisdom is going to increase as a byproduct too. So and your life is going to be happier because you're having the impact and influence. Your life is going to be more meaningful. You're going to have more motivation. You're going to have more accountability. You're going to treat every interaction in a completely different way that's not transactional, because you're focusing on helping people. And all of the other things that you want are going to come as a byproduct. That's why you need this eternal vision. That's why it's so important, and it gives you something to anchor and root towards the way that you, every time, so you're always aligned, and you know deep down with 100% certainty that you're progressing towards the goal that you want to do. Without it, you spin in circles. Without it, you have disillusionment. Without it, you spend hours and hours and hours working and not make any progress or achieve anything because you're spinning. It just makes so much sense just to have an eternal vision and focus on that over everything else, because everything, all the good things are going to come as a result of it, of you just doing that and just slightly changing your perspective, and you're going to have a positive influence on other people too. Right, eternal vision is infinite, eternal, timeless. Okay, by definition, it is intangible, incomprehensible, something that us mere humans that we can't understand. By its very definition, we can't understand. So you have to then take your eternal vision into something that's a tangible long-term goal. And your tangible long-term goal, big, hairy, audacious goals, I've heard it called, 25-year goals, 50-year goals, legacy goals, whatever it is that you want to do, this takes the intangible into something tangible and measurable. The point of doing this is just to give you a target to aim for. So if you want to impact as many people as you possibly can and have a positive influence and build up your treasures in heaven, as it says in the Sermon on the Mount, and that is your eternal goal, well, you need to make that tangible so you've got a target to aim for. Think big as you possibly can within real terms. Obviously, you can't go out and say, I want to influence 1 trillion people, because that's impossible. But can you go out and set a goal that you want to influence 1 million people in a positive way? Well, yeah, of course you can. 1 million people is achievable. Maybe it seems 1 million miles away from where you are now, but there's countless YouTube channels with 1 million plus subscribers. There's countless YouTubers that have videos with 1-2 million plus views. Well, perhaps that could be your long-term target. Not to get a number of views or subscribers, but to influence people. It is tangible, it's real, other people have got it. You can set it as your long-term goal. And then you do that for different areas of your life. Or to focus on your business and whatnot. And your long-term goals can change over time, and you're going to have more than one. But they all have their roots in your eternal vision up here, and then they come down, and this is your long-term goals, which are tangible, measurable, something that you can actually comprehend. When you bring these down to a 3-year goal, 3 years is a suitable time frame. It's a short enough time frame for you to view it as something you can achieve and make progress towards, but it's not too far away for you to set big goals to actually achieve. And an activity that I would get my clients to do, and what I did myself, to some degree, to a variation of this, is Jordan Peterson's future pacing exercise, where basically you write down free flow writing for 15-20 minutes on the person that you can become in 3 years if you do everything right, and then the person that you can become and what will happen if you do nothing, and then you see what your potential is in 3 years if everything aligns with the resources and things in your current situation and the consequences of not taking action. And then you can base your 3-year tangible goals off this. What's actually achievable, which would align with your long-term goals and your eternal vision. And then you bring the 3-year goals into a 1-year goal, 1 year into quarterly, quarterly into monthly, monthly into weekly, weekly into daily. And then you apply a system that will align your daily and weekly actions with your monthly goals and with your quarterly goals. And because your quarterly goals is based on your yearly goal, your yearly goal is based on your 3-year goal, your 3-year goal is based on your long-term goals, which has its roots in the solid, eternal, never-changing, eternal vision. This is how everything aligns. And then you apply the light framework, which is what I've basically named the pursuit of Christ-likeness, which is you then make conscious decisions. You're proactive in treating every interaction, everything you do, by acting out of love, integrity, gratitude and generosity, humble service, transformative excellence and efficiency. And by basing your moment-to-moment decisions on this, you are aligning your moment-to-moment actions with your business goals, because you set your daily targets which align with everything upstream, and then you're acting in a Christ-like way every day, so you're becoming the person you need to become. And all of this has its roots in your eternal vision, all the way down to the day-to-day, and that is how you make meaningful progress, and that is what I'm currently doing in my life. That's all. See you next time.